Right, so I want to start a new thing where the start of every episode we do a little chink of the little cup. So it's coffee with Craig.
Got a drink, otherwise it's unlucky.
That is definitely a new pub game that we've just invented. Trink and drink. Right, quite excited about this episode. Welcome to the latest episode of the Congo Food Podcast. I've got a great guest with us today, Georgia Cutting from Seaford, right down on the south coast.
Yeah, that's right.
She's been at boot camp for 8 months as a camper at Team Boot Camp, and then 6 months you've taken up a new role, like as client care, front of house.
You didn't get rid of me.
Wiping bums, anything. You've been doing that. During her time,
lackey.
Say again.
Everyone's lackey.
Basically, apart from mine, I don't have a lackey. In fact, I asked. We have an assistant in the office, Katie, who's also Paula's sister. And I asked her to do some tasks this week. I said, can you book me some parking and book me a hotel in Sweden? She was like that, no. I was like, what? I've got no... Anyway, so during your time at camp, you scorched an astonishing 12 stone, which is absolutely incredible. And I remember, weight just seemed to fall off you during your time at camp. Like I said, you're now full-time client care. And you've recently been featured on the BBC in a documentary with Miriam Margolyes.
Super nerve-wracking.
Which was, for me, I don't think I've ever publicly thanked you for that, but you did it as part of a feature about Team Boot Camp. And that's, as you're watching this, that's probably been aired already. So she may well be famous to you. She may have got some inspiration from her. But we're going to talk a little bit about that. But fundamentally, I want to talk about your weightless journey and the things that you learned. By the way, you can tell we got jackets on, right? We're freezing. Georgia's got about 5 jackets on there because it is absolutely freezing in this fridge. We've got heating on. It's just cold this time of year.
We're just rolling with it.
Yeah, roll on the summer. Okay, so Georgia, just talk to me a little bit about life before camp. I mean, take me from. Yeah, I mean, what were the biggest reasons for you to come into boot camp?
Because I wasn't living. No. I was literally spent about 2 years in my room, not eating, being sad. Like I suffer from depression and anxiety, as well as like eating issues, and literally spent 2 years in my room, waiting to have bariatric surgery. Got denied once because of mental health issues. It was the only thing my doctor could offer me when I went to ask for help with my weight, and got on the waiting list, went through it all. That took about 2 years. Finally got a date, and my dad turned round and was like, there's no way that you're doing that. That's the most extreme thing I've ever heard. And he's like, it doesn't deal with any of your issues.
So you was hoping to get that done on the NHS?
Yeah.
And was you always big as a child? Did you have eating?
I've struggled with my weight my whole life. I wasn't big as a little child. Probably when I was about 9, I just ballooned. And then as I became a teenager, I slimmed right down again. And then I went to uni and just lost all control. Didn't have a particularly great time at uni. It just wasn't what I expected or thought I was promised. And could get free Dominoes every day. So I lived off free Dominoes for about...
How did that happen? Let's just cut everything else. How did that work?
So...
Because when I was a parker, I was having to pay for my Dominoes. So
you could get pizza for £1.
Yeah.
If you collected certain flyers, they'd give you a free pizza. Just across the whole of Cambridge. That's
I always say this, that like being overweight, being obese... It's hard work, isn't it? There's a bit of effort goes into there. When you boil it down and look into it.
It's hard, you do consume a lot, and most of your life is spent eating, and then thinking about what you're going to eat next.
Yeah.
But then the battle of being like, I definitely shouldn't be doing that, but still doing it anyway, and like being ashamed and just feeling like gross generally, and being like, why is no one else having this issue? And they can all just go and eat a normal meal, and then I'm already thinking about the next meal or what I'm going to have after.
How did you feel about, you just described people there that just seem to be able to eat whatever they want. How did you feel towards them?
I couldn't understand it. I wanted to know what magic trick they had.
Yeah.
But obviously learning a bit more and being honest with myself about my eating habits, they didn't have a magic trick. they just knew about moderation. It was inbuilt in them, and I don't think that I had moderation regarding food inbuilt into me. It's something that I have to learn.
Do you, because you've met loads of people now that are overweight, perhaps had similar circumstances before coming on like a long-term weight loss program, but do you see similar habits and patterns?
100%.
So yes. I mean, what kind of things do you have you seen?
A lot of binging.
In yourself and other people?
In my, there's like a thought that because binging for me was associated with anorexia or bulimia and purging, I didn't think it was really a thing that big people did. But having come and spoken to a lot of other overweight people, it's massively to do with overeating. It's like a compulsion.
Yeah.
And I've realised that a lot of other people do it and they have the same feelings. That's definitely one thing, especially with the Congo foodies that I was with during my time at camp, we all had in common that we'd all have binge impulses, and you'd like discuss your binges and you'd be like, actually, that's really, really similar to what I would then binge on. And
did that surprise you that there were so many people in a similar situation?
Yeah.
Did you feel alone?
But it also surprised me that maybe my binges weren't as bad as others.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It surprised me that people...
So hang on, let's just play a little game. So let's say your binge is a level 5 binge.
Yeah.
What level would you put other people?
I've met people level 8, level 9 that astonished me. But it wasn't like, oh my God, that's amazing, you can put away that much food. It was like, I feel for you, like I know what that's like. Because it's not that you're eating it to enjoy it, you're just eating it to cover other stuff. Or you're just eating it because... like I say, it is a compulsion. It's like an addiction.
Did you have a pretty, and just be as open, as honest as you want, or feel comfortable, and don't answer it if you don't, move on. But was childhood normal? Did you have considered?
I think being like under 14, I had a really privileged, lovely childhood, both parents together. I have a wonderful brother and sister that we all grew up really close. I'd be outside all the time. I was really active. Yeah. There was not one day where I wasn't doing clubs. My parents were lucky enough to be able to pay for me to do gymnastics, horse riding, swimming. Every night they were running around after I was doing stuff. And then still managed to get overweight doing that. And then my teenage years, not so great. Really great at school. Home life, my parents broke up and had a bit of it was quite a long divorce. Yeah. And we got caught in the middle of it, not intentionally, but it just happens. And it affected me a lot. Yeah. And I did do a lot of drinking in my teenage years. So probably wasn't choosing the right foods or even paying attention to anyone in an adult position, because they'd just broken my trust a bit and I wasn't really respecting anyone. So I think that does stem from when someone tells me, oh, don't eat that, I'm going to eat it. Or don't do that, I'm going to do it.
Oh, I see. Yeah. It's the classic wet paint, don't touch.
Yeah.
And he was like, well,
and it was more just
I'm rolling it.
A rebellion thing to try and control my own life. And I think it proceeded into my adult life as well. I didn't really
was
deal
it
with
in combination? So there's that factor.
Yeah.
Add to it this, like... I don't know how to describe it, but you all or nothing.
Yeah,
and that was the recipe. It's like, I'll teach you, but I'll really teach you.
Yeah, yeah.
So, it's
literally, it's all or nothing. With like some things that I kind of love, it'll be like I'll do it all for like 3 months and then I'll hate it and I won't do it at all. And it's the same with food. It's either all, like I'll be completely out of it, completely out of control, or I'm completely in control. There's no in between.
Yeah. So if you was to pick out 2 emotions that the majority of your life you spent experiencing those emotions, what would they be? Back then, disappointment in myself and others. And go on, sorry.
Would you say that's an emotion?
Well, I think what it definitely does, it's like it's self-worth, it's how you value yourself.
I still now even struggle a lot. I struggle with allowing myself to have things that make me happy because I feel like they'll be taken away, so I might as well destroy them now. I know that sounds really bad.
No, it doesn't. And I'm sure people listening to this will just be like, fuck, that's me, And the other thing as well is, until, let's take sleep. Okay, sleep, it's one of the things that we're so quick to give up, you know what I mean? Because we want to get more done in a day and all that kind of stuff. And sleep changes when you start to value it. So if you don't value sleep, it's not a priority. So therefore, if you're low on like how you value yourself, self-love, self-efficacy. I was staying away from saying that. I didn't think I could bang it out first time on this, but I managed it. Self-worth.
Yeah.
Well, then you are going to beat yourself up with a big shitty stick called food, because
because in those like 10 minutes or 15 minutes that you're binging, you literally don't think about anything.
Yeah.
It's just the feeling of food in your mouth, pretty much. For me, anyway. I know. Some people it's different.
And another anything else that you? Or was that the primary?
It was the primary one.
Like shame and
I'd say anger. It's not now, but younger. I was very angry. I was angry that I felt that I failed at things. I was angry at people that I thought failed me, and I just didn't know what to do with it. But I wouldn't share it.
Yeah.
Because I was also ashamed of being angry,
and
because I knew I had a very privileged life,
right,
and that it felt a bit wrong to be causing so much distress to other people over something that other people would not seem.
So did you feel like you didn't have a right to be angry?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you think about that now?
I think I had every right to be angry.
That's interesting. Right. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about the now. So fundamentally, you decided, right, I'm going to go on a long-term residential weight loss program, and you came on the Conquer Food program and with Team Boot Camp, and eventually would go on to lose 12 stone during your 8 months at camp. What changed? I mean, I know a hell of a lot. Well, did it, or was it quite simple? I mean, what changed that allowed you to
be able to come on the course and start the course and actually complete it?
So you came on the course.
Yeah.
What did you learn? What new habits?
Well, for a start, I learned that I actually could lose weight, because when I turned up to camp, I was 100% thought I was the only person in the world that couldn't lose any weight.
Do you know you're not the first person? You know.
Yeah.
We get a lot of people that turn up.
I was like, I do everything right. I do this. The weight isn't coming off me. There must be a thyroid issue or something.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't committed. And this environment that I came into at Team was exactly what I needed. I needed all my responsibilities taken away from me, and I needed to be told what to do in order to save myself. That's what I needed.
And I think, is it right that you just needed a little insight into the fact that you could change?
That first week where I think I lost 8 pounds, I didn't believe them. I was like, there's no way. I was like, I've lost a pound. Oh, I've stayed the same. I stepped on their scales and I'd lost 8 pounds, and I was like, oh.
No.
What?
Wrong form.
Wrong. Like,
scales are wrong.
Are you sure?
No, I've had people talk to me, and they're like, before I come to camp, I played out this video in my mind, as we do, these voices and videos in our head. And this one person was like, I just had this video where I'd just get on the scales, and then there'd be this conversation about, God, we've never seen this before. How could you put weight on? This is just, there must be some medical. And, they played this out. And then the first week got on the scales, lost 10 pounds or whatever it was. And just like, no, this ain't right. and it's a key point, because, you've got a choice there where you accept that shit. But with that comes a little bit of fear and a little bit of the unknown, like, oh my God, my life is about to change.
Terrifying.
And sometimes, no matter how shit our life is, we can be comfortable knowing that it's shit.
100% agree with that.
And then the other way they can go is like, well, I'm not fucking having it. You know what I mean? I'll sabotage my progress and all that kind of stuff. So, really interesting. So, I mean, how did you feel? So you was riddled with this disappointment and shame and guilt before you came, and then that first week, that first way out. I mean, what went through your mind? How did you feel then?
I felt like I was like, holy shit, sorry.
You can swear on here. We're all
I've
adults.
actually achieved something that I set out to do. And I know I've had a lot of help, but I've actually done a whole week of boot camp, done exactly what they've told me to do, and I've lost weight. Like, what do I do now?
Yeah. So people, I'm just going to throw this out to keep you listening. This is a great interview, by the way, one of the best. But I'm going to tell you the secret. I'm going to tell you the secret to how this program works in about 3 words later on. So we'll carry on with this. So make sure you're listening. I'm going to tell you exactly why it works in a bit. But what else changed? Well, I mean, in fact, no. Tell me about. I mean, was it hard that first week?
Oh yeah, for the first 4 weeks I was here, which you probably don't remember or believe now, but I didn't speak for 4 weeks.
No, I don't remember.
And then all of a sudden I became the most annoying person on the planet.
So why was that? Just
I
you
probably
still in...
was at one of the lowest points in my life, and I just had nothing. I wasn't me. I was shut down completely. I'd like purposely shut my entire brain down just so I didn't have to deal with life. And coming into a place which was so warming and being surrounded by people that knew what it felt, it was overwhelming. And I wasn't quite ready to share that I felt the same.
Yeah.
But those 4 weeks, the trainers really, really helped, because I was terrified of Reg when I first came here. Absolutely terrified. Couldn't even look him in the eye. And now he's like a big teddy bear. He'll probably hate me for saying that. But
well, ultimately he cares, doesn't he?
Yeah, and the 4 weeks, of course, I hadn't been moving, so I probably wasn't creating any endorphins or anything. So I literally felt in those 4 weeks I was stocking up all these good feeling chemicals that your body releases as you exercise, and realizing, oh my God, I can actually feel okay. I don't have to feel like there's no point in being here.
Was there a moment or a morning when you woke up or whatever where you just thought, fucking hell, I feel good or feel better?
My 6th week.
Was it?
Yeah. So I was no longer hungry.
Straight in.
Yeah, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Because the first 6 weeks, all I dreamed about was pizza.
Right. Yeah.
That's all I want was pizza, cheese on bread. And then my 6th week, I woke up before my alarm. I wasn't tired, even though I'd done 6 weeks of training. And I realized I'm surrounded by people that are supporting me. I had really good friends. Like, I had really good friends at home, but these were friends that understood and they were there with me. And I was like, I had a purpose. I knew that today I got up, I trained, I did this, and then in the evening I could focus on whatever I wanted to, and then go to bed and I'd do it again, and I knew exactly what I was doing, and that was really peaceful for me.
Yeah. And what was, if you think back at like the internal dialogue, which, you know, can
ruin.
Yeah, it can ruin people, can't it? But like, what was? Did you notice like a change in what your internal dialogue was saying?
Yeah, definitely. Mainly because it was practicing. Because of course, the Congo Food program, you're taught about positive speech, and I knew that I still slip into it quite a lot. That no one can be as horrible to me as I am to myself. No one.
You'd punch him in the face, wouldn't you?
Yeah, like the stuff I say or think about myself is nothing like.
Well, you should hear him in the staff room when you're not there.
I know.
But let me just
it's learning.
So for the people listening, you know, no doubt they would have heard, you know, positive language.
Yes.
And it's like,
it didn't happen
here
overnight.
We go again.
It didn't happen overnight. It was more with things like, so let's to put in perspective, I decided when I got here that I wanted to run, because I'd never been able to run my entire life or let myself run.
So where did that come from? Just like
well, I could see all of because of course you have a big range of people that come to boot camp. You have the really obese people, you have fit people that come just to boost their fitness for a week. And I could see all of these wonderful people who are really, really nice. It's not like we go to a sports club and they're like, oh, you can't do it, so I don't want to be with you. They were really supportive, really nice.
Get to the back. Fatty, come on, back.
Yeah.
No,
and they could run, and everyone and people could keep talking about when you run, you get like a kind of peacefulness, like the long runs. And I just thought that sounded pretty cool, and I wanted to be able to do it. And that was the challenge I set myself. And with positive language, it was literally like from going, oh, I don't run, I'm the girl that never runs. Literally all I practiced doing was, you can run, you just run. And I'd count to 100 every time I was running. And once I'd got to 100, I'd be like, you can do it, just keep going. That, like, literally that, I didn't do much else than that. And then, like, yeah, I'd have other thoughts going in, just stop. But pushing it away because I wanted to run more than I wanted to stop. But it was practice.
Yeah.
It was practice. And it was only like probably 2 words. And I'm not saying I'm brilliant at it now because I'm not.
But I me and Paula talk about this all the time. You know, people think, oh, that's it. I'm done. I can live life as a bloody monk for the, you know. But you never really get rid of them demons, do you?
No, and old habits are very easy to slip back into because they're comforting, even though they don't make you feel good. You know what you're doing. You know what you are there. The new ones are terrifying because it's unknown. People treat you differently. You treat yourself differently. And again, with self-worth, it's wondering whether you actually deserve that.
Yeah. You mentioned pizza. And how did you feel like knowing you had to give that up? Or, I'm not to give up because, you know, there's 2 types of people. There's those people that just, they must eradicate some foods from their life because it's a trigger food. They just spiral out.
Kinder Buenos.
Is that it? It's a big trigger food. You've thought about this. And then there's other people that can moderate. I'm lucky. I'm a moderator. You know, I can get away with a bit of pizza and I can get away with a Kinder Bueno, you know. Some people can't. I mean, how did it feel when you had to give that up?
The thing is, for me, I respond very well to, I was very good at school. So I respond very well to rules and being taught and what to do. So I came in and these people in power who I was a bit nervous of told me that you'll eat this and you'll go and exercise 5 times a day and that's what you'll do. So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So even though I really wanted that pizza, I was more terrified of letting these people who were there to help me down than that overtook the urge to go out and get pizza. Obviously, I didn't have a car, so I couldn't leave either.
Yeah.
So that was good. Like,
well, I mean, and this, you know, I was talking about like the secret. What is the secret? Why does this program work? Well, because remove choice.
Yeah, I needed to be treated like a child. Like I knew I needed that. So that's why I wasn't resistant to people telling me what to do. I think we do have people that find it hard to be treated like that. But I knew that would work for me. As soon as I read the website, I think I spoke to Katie and Paula on the phone. I was like, that's where I need to go because I don't like to disappoint people. I don't like to break rules. And that's where I need to go. I need to be told that that's what you're doing and I'll do it.
Good. I mean, it's incredible journey. So what was your biggest lesson at camp, do you think? If someone sort of said, let's say, right, you fast forward, you're on your deathbed, your young grandchild who's got a weight problem comes to you and says, Granny,
help me.
Yeah. What do I need to know? You know what I mean? What was the one thing that you would say?
That anything that you want is hard. You have to fight for it, and it's not always a given. But that's okay because as I've learned lately, you will stumble, and you can stumble quite hard. But you need to be able to ask for help, but you also need to help yourself. And that's a really hard thing when you don't think that you deserve help.
So what I'm getting from that is a couple of things. First of all, being prepared to ask for help. That's a massive one.
Yeah, that is hard.
And then the other one is like, you've got to fucking do this yourself, right? You know, with help, but
you're
fundamentally you're
the primary factor. Like,
you can't outsource this, can you?
No. If you want it and you like want to be this certain way or you want to look like that, you actually have to do it yourself. No one is going to do it for you. And as annoying and irritating as that is, you can sit and grumble like I do about it all the time, like, oh, like, why isn't this happening? It will happen if you put the work in it, because I've just seen myself do it for the last 8 months. So it's fact. It is a fact. Yeah. If you put the work in, you'll get it.
What the program that you came on? I mean, obviously, you know, we've got 5 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
So much goes on in the Conquer Food program.
Yeah.
What aspects of the program and things that you learn like surprised you, either about yourself or the program or the way we run it or whatever?
I've always thought I was quite an open person, but it did surprise me that maybe I haven't been as open and honest as I thought I have been in the past, and that it actually helps to let stuff go and not fight it on your own. The other thing is just there's a lot of science in it. It's quite interesting, like learning that you can control what you think. I always knew I could control what I think, but actually having it put in front of you as a science, it kind of doesn't give you the excuse anymore. You know why it's happening. You can change it. That's really what I learned from it.
I think what you get from that as well is one factor you need in everything when you're trying to change is faith in what you're doing.
Yeah, and you also need to have faith in the person that's helping you.
Yeah, and that's what those little ticks, this is science-based, proven history, blah, blah, blah,
yeah,
gives you that little bit of faith for you to follow through on and commit to it. That's good. Right, so just briefly then, what kind of things did Miriam ask you? What was it like doing the show?
It was terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, if you imagine it's actually just struck me. You've done 2 years in your bedroom, like barely came out, to going onto national television. Prime time TV on the BBC. What the fuck?
I thought it was, do you know what? I was like, I'm going to be fine with it. It's going to be really cool. Started doing it. I was like, this is terrifying. I don't know if I can do this. Because they're really probing questions and you have to think really hard because you want to be able to portray what you actually mean when you say the answers to the questions. And she'd ask a lot of questions about, a bit like you have done, like with my eating habits. She'd ask about my family history, and you want to word it so you don't upset anyone in your family because I love them. I love them, and I don't. Whether or not we've had a few issues, I don't want to offend them in any way or think that I'm still upset about it. She also came to my house, and that was very personal. She came into my house with my mum.
And she does not give a shit, like, does she?
Oh, no, it's hilarious. So she fit into my family great. Yeah. So she fit in very, very well. But the whole of the town went mental. It was all on Facebook. I was getting Facebook messages saying, why is Miriam with your mom on the beach?
Oh, really? Yeah. So was it all positive, was it? Or?
It was positive, yeah. They just were curious. Really, really curious. And of course, it was funny watching everyone speculate and being like, none of you know what it's about. You've all got it wrong. It's not a film. And my mum's not an actress. The questions, they were hard. And they did make you look at yourself. But then other questions would take you off guard because you're like, what has this got to do with it?
Yeah. And it's just something she threw out.
Yeah.
There. Like...
And you'd have to repeat yourself quite a lot because you'd do the question. And you'd say something and they'd be like, I need you to reword that, or I need Miriam to reword the question. And so you'd have to be like, right, what did I just say? And then go back again and redo it like at least 3 or 4 times so that they could get it specific for the documentary, which I was exhausted. Absolutely. It's probably one of the most tiring things I've ever done. And I've done boot camp.
Do you think there'll be other TV opportunities in the future, or is that your TV?
I don't know. I think it might be my TV career.
That burned. Okay, listen, I want to talk about like the future, and because obviously people can probably resonate with you right back then when you was really struggling and you didn't come out of your room. But what does the future look like now? I know you mentioned hiccups and all that, and everybody's going to have hiccups and stumbles and all that kind of stuff. But fundamentally, how does the future look?
Well, I know for a solid fact that's now ingrained at me, I never want to go back to how I was, and I'll fight tooth and nail to not go back. It's just terrifying to me that I could have ever felt like that. The future, really, I've got really good friends around me that I've made the last couple of years. I've got a nice job and it's shown me that I can, it's reminded me that I can actually do things. Whereas before I was just like, I'm just going to sit here and just let life pass me by. It's exhausting. I don't want to do it. And now I've got that yen back to actually live life and go and actually enjoy things, which is really, really nice after not having it. And it's more about enjoying having that feeling back.
let's do the opposite. So
Yeah.
we said we create 2 emotions that you experienced most of the time before. What emotions do you experience most of the time now?
Determination and acceptance.
Wow. I love a bit of them too. No, seriously. And I think anyone listening and watching it would just be like, fucking right, I want some of that. Yeah, it's incredible. What do you have any like inspirational quotes that stick out, or mantras that you kind of stick to now that might benefit people that are listening to this?
This is going to make one of our old boot campers laugh, Kath Jones, who I think you've had on here.
Yeah,
I once asked her what she did when she was running, and she was like, I just tell myself I'm a fucking boss. And I was like, what? And she was like, the whole time I'm running, I'm saying I'm a boss. And I was like, right, okay.
With a Scouse accent.
Yeah. And I was like, I actually really like that. So now I'm like, if I'm ever tricky, I'm just like, I'm a fucking boss. I can do this. Just get in there and do it. I'm a fucking boss, which I really, really like. But also it makes me think of her, and it makes me giggle as well. So it kind of shakes off any fears that I had. So I do really like that one. And it is what it is. A lot of things you can't change, or a lot of things will happen, but you can grow from them, as I've learned. And I used to spend a lot of time looking back at the past and being like, well, if I only did this, then I'd be here now and I'd be doing this. If I, especially for my mental health, if I look back and just accept, right, that was a decision I made at the time. It is what it is. Where do I go now? Rather than just constantly running that decision over and over and over in my head. Can't do anything about it. It is what it is. It's already done. So go and do something else. So that's really helped mentally, not just even with weight-wise, just keeping me sane.
Just 2 simple things, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's nothing elaborate or difficult or, or make it scientific or anything like that. Just simple little mantras. But I can see how they can go a long way. Who's been some of the inspirational people you've met along the way?
Jenny Draper.
Yeah?
Yeah. She's just a lovely person. And she was there when I first went to camp. She comes back a lot. And she is so unbelievably fit, like from what I see. And I was like, I just want to be like that. I just want to be able to be like, I'm going to run now. Yeah. Or I'm going to do this, and be able to do it without being like, bloody hell, that really fucking hurts. That's because that's what it looks like to me. It may not be the truth to her, but that is to me. Ashley Evans.
Yeah.
My annoying sidekick. He's just very interesting. He's a breed of his own. I have never met anyone like him.
That's true.
Yeah. And it's fun, and he can tell a story, and he can inspire people in a way that I have never come across before. I love that he ran away to Thailand just because, and then came back, and he picks a thing that he really enjoys and goes full force on it. Like, he wanted to be a PT. He's an amazing PT. He wanted to be a massage therapist. He freaking loves it and does everything under the sun. It is motivating to see someone like that. And who else?
There's probably so many in there.
There is a lot of people. We had someone called Miss Google come to camp. She was only here for a week, but she lost an insane amount of weight on her own. No, it's what Ash called her. I'm just trying to remember her real name. Alex, I think.
Worked at Google.
Worked at Google, and she came back. She came to camp first time, and you would never have known that she lost like probably 12, 15 stone. But she did it on her own, and she's kept it off, and has a high power. She's a powerful woman, respected, and it's something that I feel that I'd like to have. Maybe not as stressful as I imagine Google is, but
I don't know. They get really,
she was intriguing to talk to, which was nice. And then, of course, my 2 very closest friends, Sonali and Ricky, they helped me through a lot. They have very different opinions on the world to me, which is quite nice. So it challenges me every day, and they inspire me a lot because I want to keep them as my friends. I don't want to lose them. So I don't want to be that horrible, annoying, depressive, sad person that I was, or the person that wouldn't leave because they'd be the fattest person in the room.
Cool.
So I want to go and join.
Brilliant.
With them.
Well, listen, this has been a great little chat. I've loved it, and I've learned new stuff about you. I always do like a quick fire round at the end, where you just get one word.
Oh,
I'm going to throw some names at you, and you just get one word.
Okay.
We're going to start with Ash, who's one of your trainers. One word.
Mental.
Reese, new trainer.
Oh, is that a word?
You can't have all.
Reese. Red. It's Red Reese.
Red Reese. Reggie, another trainer.
Grumpy.
Yeah, we had a trainer before that he played a big part in your your sort of journey, and he's a good friend as well. So Taz, what would you say about Taz? Maybe he's listening to this.
What would I say about him? The Rock.
Yeah, cool. Paula.
Inspirational.
Yeah. Ricky.
Doofus.
Nicola.
The kindest person I've ever met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Winnie.
The love of my life.
which is George's dog. Listen, Georgia, thanks again for joining me on this show.
It's been really
well
good.
done. Thanks again for doing the BBC stuff. So anything I should have asked you that I haven't asked?
I don't think so.
All right. Final words of encouragement for anyone out there that's
Final
struggling with
words
their
of
weight.
encouragement. If you are teetering on wanting to do something about it, just go for it. No matter how nervous it is, it's more worth it than anything that you can ever possibly imagine, to no longer be in pain or not want to do anything and not enjoy life. If you're teetering on doing it, just go. Just do it. It'll be hard work, but it's well worth it. Trust me.
Brilliant. Well done, Georgia.